My cheating wife confessed shocking details of her affair, not knowing I recorded everything. Now, she's begging me not to expose the truth. Hey Reddit. I'm writing this for some advice, but also to vent because I'm at a breaking point. I 32am have been married to my wife 30f for almost 6 years. We met in college and quickly became inseparable. Everything seemed perfect. Sure, we had our occasional arguments, but nothing too serious. At least, that's what I thought. The truth came crashing down a few weeks ago, and I feel like my world is falling apart. It started innocently enough. I noticed she was acting strange. She was distant, often on her phone, and seemed to be pulling away emotionally. I'm not one to jump to conclusions, but something didn't sit right with me. After a couple of days of feeling like I was being ignored, I decided to trust my gut and look through her phone. To my horror, I found messages that confirmed my worst fear: she was having an affair. At first, I was in denial. Maybe it was a mistake, or maybe I was misunderstanding the situation. But as I dug deeper, the truth became undeniable. She had been seeing another man, let's call him David, for almost a year. They'd been meeting up regularly, and their conversations were full of details that made my stomach churn. They'd even gone on trips together, staying in hotels and spending weekends away while I was left at home, clueless. I was crushed. It felt like everything I believed about our marriage was a lie. But I had to know more. I needed to hear it from her own lips, to understand the full extent of her betrayal. So, I started following her, tracking her movements, and gathering more evidence. I knew it wasn't healthy, but I couldn't help myself. I wanted to be sure. That's when I decided to do something that would come back to haunt her. I started recording her. I placed a hidden camera in our living room and another one in our bedroom. I needed proof that she wasn't just texting, that she wasn't just talking to him. I needed to hear her confession. I didn't expect her to come home one evening and drop the bombshell on me the way she did. She came in that night, looking unusually nervous. She had been out with her friends, or so she told me. But there was something in her eyes that made me feel uneasy. I could sense that she knew something was off. Maybe she suspected I was onto her. She sat down on the couch, avoiding my gaze, and after a few moments of silence, she spoke. She said, "I know you've been suspicious, and I think it's time I come clean." I had no idea what she was about to say, but I listened, heart pounding in my chest. She started confessing everything: how she had met David at work, how it started as a harmless flirtation, and how it escalated into a full-blown affair. She detailed the times they had sex, the places they'd been, the lies she'd told me to cover up the truth. The worst part? She had no idea I was recording her. As she spilled everything, I felt a mix of emotions: anger, betrayal, but also a sick sense of satisfaction. I had the proof I needed. But she didn't know that yet. I was stunned into silence as she continued, completely oblivious to the cameras. She even talked about how guilty she felt, but also how she didn't want to end her affair with David because she had developed strong feelings for him. She said, "I never meant to hurt you, but I don't want to lose him. He's different. I love you, but it's not the same anymore." I barely managed to keep my composure. After what felt like an eternity, she finished her confession and just sat there, staring at me, waiting for my response. I wanted to scream, to throw her out of the house, to confront her right then and there. But I didn't. I just nodded, stood up, and walked out of the room. I needed to think. I needed to process everything. The betrayal was overwhelming, but I had a plan now. The next day, I sat her down and told her we needed to talk. I didn't tell her what I had: the recordings, the evidence. I just asked her, "What exactly do you want from this marriage?" She looked guilty and unsure, but then she said, "I want to make it right. I want us to go to therapy, to work through it." But I knew deep down, the damage was done. There was no going back from this. I asked her to leave the house for a while to give me space. She reluctantly agreed, and I spent the next few days in a whirlwind of emotions. I debated whether I should confront her with the recordings, expose her for what she had done, or just walk away and end it all. Update: after thinking it over for a few days, I decided to confront her with the truth. I couldn't keep living in this lie, pretending everything was fine while she continued to see David. So, I invited her back to the house, sat her down, and played the recordings for her. She was speechless. I don't think she realized just how much I knew. As the recordings played, her face went pale, and I could see the panic in her eyes. She begged me to stop, but I didn't. I let the recordings play out. When it was over, I looked at her and said, "Now, do you want to try to fix this? Or do you want to keep lying to me?" She started crying, apologizing, saying she was so sorry and that she didn't want to lose me. But it was clear to me, the trust was gone. It was shattered beyond repair. I didn't even know who she was anymore. I told her that I couldn't continue living like this. I didn't trust her, and I didn't believe anything she said anymore. I asked her to leave again, this time for good. She agreed, and we've been living separately ever since. Another update. A few weeks have passed since that confrontation. She's been trying to reach out to me, sending me texts, emails, and even calling me. She's apologizing constantly, asking if we can go to therapy, begging me to take her back. But I'm done. I'm done with the lies, done with the deceit, done with the woman I thought I knew. It's hard to completely cut ties after so many years together, but I know it's the only way forward. She hasn't given up trying to win me back, but I've already made up my mind. I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive her. The trust is gone, and I just can't live with the thought of her being with someone else while pretending everything was fine with me. I've also been reflecting on how I let myself get caught up in this toxic cycle. I should have trusted my instincts sooner. But now, I'm focusing on moving forward, on healing, and on finding myself again. I've made the decision to file for divorce. It's not easy, and it's painful, but I know it's the right thing for me. I'm trying to rebuild my life, one step at a time. Final update. I've officially filed for divorce, and while it's been an emotional roller coaster, I'm starting to feel a sense of relief. I've been talking to a lawyer, getting everything in order, and preparing for what's next. I'm taking it day by day, but I know this is the right decision. My wife has stopped reaching out to me for the most part. I think she knows it's over. She hasn't fought me on the divorce, which I suppose is a good thing. She's moved on with David, and I'm just trying to move forward with my life. It's been a long, difficult journey, but I'm learning how to heal and how to trust myself again. I'm focusing on my career, my friends, and doing things that make me happy. The road ahead is uncertain, but I'm determined to build a better future. Thank you to everyone who offered support and advice during this time. I appreciate it more than you know.